according to Hip Hop Live in the midday. What up, brother?
Midday hump day.
Yes, sir.
I got
Hump
you.
day. Happy Cinco de Mayo, by the way, too.
Yeah, happy Cinco to everybody. You know,
So,
hold on, two birthdays right quick. My man Obi, who I brought up many times on this show, is his birthday today.
happy birthday,
He's in
Obi.
yeah, he's in Cartagena chilling. My grandfather's birthday was yesterday. He would have been 92 years old.
Rest in power. Yes, we're welcoming everybody into the room. Happy birthday to everyone out there. Happy Cinco de Mayo. And you know what? Real quick, we don't have a whole lot of time. We want to talk this the new J Cole album. I was gonna say the possibility of a new J Cole album, but it's been confirmed that J Cole's dropping next Friday. The off season, he said it's been years in the making. What are you expecting here on this new J Cole effort?
Well, he said it was years in the making. When an artist talks like that, they're really, really confident in the project. And so I hope we're about to hear his best piece of work. Because
You
I've
know
never
what?
really
He
heard him
said
speak.
something about his confidence too. Not to interrupt you, he was like, confidence through the roof. He tweeted that, posted that like on
Oh,
his
he
IG
did?
story earlier this week. Yep.
No, he's never talked that way before. He has been kind of like, Nas, like in the sense that he really doesn't brag much. He doesn't talk about himself much.
Mm-hmm.
He's never even big on really promoting his albums. I mean, his best album like went platinum with very very little promotion from him, Mike. Like
Yep.
I mean, it was really like the quality of the album and people really being into him and his sound and his music to push the project. My hope for the project is that he has other producers. Like it's been a few years.
No,
You know,
no, I agree.
I hope he's with other cats.
Well, I
I know
think.
you and I.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
No,
go
what I
ahead.
was
No,
gonna
no.
say was, first of all, like we said in last week's show, I feel like that DJ Khaled album opened up the mainstream, right? So I think that was the opener where everybody's gonna start coming out with stuff. But I also believe in 2020 there was a plan for guys to drop albums. With the pandemic threw a lot of that behind, so people are sitting on material. So I think that these guys got albums and material cocklock ready to go. I mean, and we're gonna talk about Kendrick in a minute too. But yeah, I think that's part of, like you said, the confidence and the fact that he's probably put together a body of work that's not rushed. You know what I'm saying? Because basically, for a lot of guys, last year just didn't even count.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing where it's like I hope that it's his best work. It's because his last project, Mike. It was solid. It was all right. But when you start looking at his catalog, he has too many all right projects and not
Mm-hmm.
enough like great classic projects to balance it out. And so my hope is that this project is great because I think it's going to lend more credence to where people place him. Because sometimes I feel like he does get misplaced because we immediately, when we go to Cole, go to Kendrick. And it's like I was just telling you behind the scenes, it's like it seems like Cole's been gone as long as Kendrick has, and people haven't cared as much. And I think that speaks to something.
Well, that's interesting to say because we just put a poll out that's active right now, maybe about an hour ago or 30 minutes ago. What album people are anticipating more, the Kendrick album or the Cole album? And Kendrick's winning by 52% to 48%, but it's a lot closer than people think. I don't know if that's because Cole actually has a date, because we're not even speaking in a volume anymore. Even though I'm not a volume in a vacuum anymore, but even though Kendrick went on Big Boy's radio show yesterday, and people are putting out there that Kendrick might be dropping soon too. And the way things are now, obviously we wouldn't know if Kendrick's dropping the album until like 2 or 3 days before it. But the fact that Cole actually has a date, people seem very interested. So it seems a lot closer than what we think in a vacuum, but I agree with you. I mean, Kendrick's catalog speaks for itself, and it puts Cole in a backward position, and hopefully this album can justify the conversations more. I mean, what do you think Cole's albums are missing in relation to Kendrick's albums? Because they have two totally different approaches to their work.
You took a lot of the words right out of my mouth, Mike. I want this album to justify the conversation more because even though our poll says it's like 52 to 48%, Mike, don't we really look at it like it's more like 60-40 or 65-35? And isn't most of that because of the catalog? Because when we talk about Kendrick's catalog, we talk about how quality and consistently good to great that it is. We don't talk about Cole's catalog that way, do we?
We don't.
And
What do you think that gap is? Is it in their lyrical abilities, or is it in
I
the
think
arrangements of the projects?
I was about to say, I think it's in a little bit of everything. Isn't Kendrick a little bit better of a lyricist than Cole, even though Cole's a great lyricist? Wouldn't you put Kendrick ahead of as a lyricist?
I would. I mean, I think he's a better storyteller. I
I'm
think
about to
that
say,
he
wouldn't you?
has his flow is very very flashy in comparison, and
Yeah.
he's adjusted to a lot of varied tracks. But again, Cole kind of puts himself in that box by not having tracks from all over the place. Let me go
Well,
to the
let's see what
chat
people
real
said.
quick. I know we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone said these two rappers are really loved, so it's hard. They have the same fans. Will Jones says it's because Kendrick makes music on a bigger scale. Um, and
Will, what
yeah.
up? Boo boo.
And Brent Zimway says, shout out my Brent Z. I'll send you a rack. No lie. Well, there's a shout out. Send the rack over to our PayPal. But yeah,
No, okay, so here's what I'm trying to say. It kind of speaks to everything that you just said. At every turn, it seems like Kendrick has a leg up on Cole. So why is this conversation so close? Catalog, clearly in Kendrick's favor.
mm-hmm.
Lyrically, in Kendrick's favor. Storytelling, in Kendrick's favor. Delivery, versatility, in Kendrick's favor. That would hint to me to be some sort of separation. And
Yeah.
and I think whoever said they have the same fans, I know Will the homie just said that Kendrick makes projects on a bigger scale. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Cole tries to make projects on the scale that Kendrick does. He just doesn't seek the help,
I
which is
think they do
crazy to
the
say.
same thing outside of the fact that Kendrick gets production help and lets people produce him where Cole hasn't. But as far
That's
as me
big,
saying they
Mike.
do,
That's big.
that is big.
Letting somebody
That's
produce you
huge.
as an artist is big.
That
That's
no,
huge.
that's huge.
Illmatic, Mike.
No.
Illmatic.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like stuff like Supreme Clientele and things like that. But yeah, I mean, that is huge. And I'm saying that to say they do the same thing in a sense where they don't have a lot of people on their efforts. Like Kendrick doesn't have a lot of rappers on their effort. Damn
Neither
doesn't.
does Cole.
There's not even a no. I mean, Cole gets a lot of credit for that, but no one ever really highlights the fact that Kendrick does that too. There's not a rapper on Damn, but him.
Hold on. He doesn't do it as much as Cole does. In fairness to Cole, and you hear Kendrick featured on other people's stuff more than you'll hear Cole. Cole has made
Do you?
himself more of a rarity. Yeah. Cole has made himself more of a rarity even than Kendrick in terms of the guest appearances and also allowing guest appearances on albums. I'm going to give that to Cole. Yeah.
Okay, well, I know we don't have a lot of time. We're already 8 minutes in. Real quick, what do you expect from this new J. Cole off-season album?
I hope it's the best album of his career, so I'm expecting it to be a notch up from Forest Hill Drive. I think a lot of that is going to lie when we pull out the linear notes and see who's done the production.
So you're expecting it to be his best album?
Yes.
Okay. What are you expecting from Kendrick's new album? Because it's pretty clear that Kendrick's dropping something.
Is it pretty clear? How did the Big Boy interview go? Like I said, I haven't caught it yet.
I got to go catch up with it too, but the fact that he's actually...
I'm getting...
I mean, the fact that he's doing press. What else do we know Kendrick for? He's not a designer. He doesn't he doesn't act. He's not selling anything else. And I have they yet to. It's been a long time since they actually dropped in the same year. And and all right, this is the other.
It's been a long time since they dropped.
This has been a long time since they dropped. Period. And that's another thing for Kendrick. He hadn't dropped since 2017, and the fact that LeBron James has basically said that he wants a new Kendrick album. I think they're using LeBron for promotion as well. I mean, LeBron just out of nowhere is posting a gift that he got from Jay-Z. It's pretty clear that Jay is coming out with something too, because Jay has been he's been on the tip of everyone's tongue over the past week or two, and doing a lot of press. That's the word I'm looking for. So with people doing press, you have to think that they're going to come with something, especially people who don't normally do press. You know what I'm saying?
No,
something's coming.
No, absolutely. It's okay. So as far as expectation for Kendrick's album, I told you that he has to make something better than Damn uh, in order to be considered, I think, the best MC in the game, as he was when he last made Damn. Because
Yeah.
when he made Damn, he was the best MC in the game. And what I'm telling you is that between Pusha T and definitely Conway the last 2 years, and Pusha T the year before that, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they came and they're both coming out with material this year as well. And so we will have a pretty fair bar and measure on the scale to measure with, and that includes Cole. So it's like everybody better be coming with their A+ shit. That's what I'm saying. When you're like, oh, what does this need to be for Cole? Oh, for Cole, it needs to be the best project of his career. I don't expect Kendrick to recreate Good Kid, Mad City or to pimp a butterfly, but he needs to kind of had something that gets discussed with it the way that Stillmatic gets discussed with it was written, and the way in Illmatic, in the way that the Black Album gets discussed with the Blueprint and Reasonable Doubt. You know
I
what I'm
don't. I
saying?
don't think he's dropping that. I mean, I just.
Oh, no, 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 but he need
Yeah.
that. We ain't say what he dropping. I'm telling you, like, what he needs to drop is
Okay.
something like in that vein at this stage, because that's that would put him just on par with what his competition is dropping.
Yeah.
Like, he's never been like people don't understand this too. Kendrick came along in a time when the talent pool wasn't heavy. The talent pool is deeper now.
Exactly. And you know what? And we have to actually, when we're talking about his all-time prowess, we have to consider those things. And we have to consider what the mainstream looked like when he broke through and when he was on his run, and the way everybody leveled up. And we haven't heard anything since the game has changed. Everything's been is different than
No,
2017. Like, it just is.
so let me state it more appropriately. This needs to be Cole's best album, and it needs to be Kendrick's third best album, at least. Because I
Okay.
don't think, because it's gonna be so hard for him to conceptually top To Pimp a Butterfly, and it's gonna be so hard to him to match the feeling at this stage in the game on Good Kid, Mad City.
Right,
So I think
right.
those
We're looking for something
are
damn level, right? We're looking for something damn level.
above, above.
Above damn level. I think for a lot of people
Yeah.
that's going to be tough. Let's go on to the
Well, I
other
mean,
thing because I know we're 12 minutes in now. Um,
but Mike, we just said how only 3 or 4 tracks on Damn stuck with you. I don't think that's gonna cut it against Pusha T and Conway right now.
I agree. And I think, you know what? I know he normally doesn't do it, but I think collaborations on this album would be a good thing for Kendrick. Maybe not so much Cole because, Cole already, his fans are used to hearing a certain type of project from him. And that's the one thing that Cole does have in his favor. He has a level of consistency where people still hold him very high without him having that grand slam of an effort. You know what I'm saying? So he could stay consistent and still be there. Kendrick has a whole bunch to actually follow up.
His fans fight for him like no other, Mike.
They do, man. They do. They love him.
Yeah,
They're
they love him.
probably cursing us out right now.
No, Mike, I'm from Carolina. This is crazy that I be having these conversations. It's just like I'm realistic. Like, you know what I mean?
I would go as far as to saying that in some circles and in some conversations, he's a little overrated. But I don't want to have that conversation today. I know we
We're
don't
not
have a
having
lot
that
of time.
conversation today. Yeah, we're gonna wait for the.
We'll wait for the album to come out. You know what?
Yeah,
I'll wait for the album to come out to have that overrated conversation. Now, the last thing,
I'll go with this.
the last thing, man, with all the press that Jay seems to be doing, I don't think it's just for this Khaled collaboration. It seems like there's a lot of things that are giving us the notion that Jay-Z's coming out with an effort pretty soon. His, Wall Street Journal interview, he never does interviews, posted up a family picture of him, Beyonce, and all 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? We don't ever see them. So this is kind of like brand recognition. So more than likely, a Jay-Z effort is coming. And he made that statement about Big Pimpin'. Again, like I said in the previous show, I know that Jay knows how to get social media going. He knows what lines to say for people to go out there and quote and post. He knows what things to say in the press to get a story. And I think that Big Pimpin' statement that he made about being ashamed of making Big Pimpin' and correlating himself to an animal and for those records and basically saying he regretted making the song. Excuse me. There's a lot to unpack with that. But in short, I think that he said all those things because he has some new music coming. There's a lot of records and a lot of verses and a lot of songs that anybody who's following hip hop or who was following Jay-Z's career in the 90s, early 2000s, that he could point to that are a lot worse than, Big Pimpin'. But for him to actually point out that record, I think that that is him pandering to his corporate relationships and corporate audience. Um, but yeah, I think that we're probably gonna get a 444 part two. That's what
Oh
I'm
God, no. Oh God,
gauging.
please don't. Oh, please don't. Oh God.
I mean, that's where we're at right
Yeah.
now. I mean, look,
Oh,
I think really,
why can't
realistically,
why can't he make a King's Disease right now? Like, no.
Sorry Not Sorry is basically what we're going to get from either
That's a
MC.
that's a mid. No, we didn't get that from Nas's album. Nas's album not some mid. Like Sorry Not Sorry some mid, Mike. Like that's some mid.
I'm gonna go
Like
back and listen to King's Disease. I
and
haven't
then
listened to it
Mike,
in a minute,
Mike,
but
you need to listen to Blue Benz, 27 Summers, Spicy, Full Circle, 10 Points. They're good records on there.
I don't love those records. I'm sorry,
All
man.
that Anderson Paak, no, Mike. It blows 444 out the water. Everybody will tell you that.
We'll put a
That's why I
poll
like
up
you
on
saying
that too. We'll put a
444.
poll
Don't
up
do
on
that,
that too, because people
Mike.
love 444.
Mike, it's gonna score the way the Diary versus trap music just scored. It's gonna be like a
We'll
65,
see.
35.
But see, I don't love either record though, and I think that a part of that for me is the fact that I don't know, man, the intensity that I hear from those artists that I've heard before, I just don't hear on those records, and I can't even really fake it. Like I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying they're bad. I think that their lives are in different places right now, and just based on the intensity that I've heard from them in previous records, and the production's a thing too. Now, if these guys were talking about these things over premiere tracks or over, large pro, it might be different for me.
No.
You
It's
know?
not that, Mike. No, it's not that, Mike. I'm going to tell you what it is. And I just got done. I was on one of the few group threads that I'm actually on social media. I was just talking to a brother up there, and I was explaining to him that, like, he was like, what? He was like, you expecting them to talk about the streets the way they was when they're their teens and their 20s? And I'm like, no. I'm like, but Black Thought has provided an excellent bar and example about how you up the ante on your craft of emceeing as you get older without treading the same water. So what I hear from them are guys that aren't as active with it,
Exactly.
which is why it's coming off like some
Exactly.
mid.
Exactly.
So the producer's not really the issue. It's the fact that the artist is in a different place, in a different space. And so that means you probably need to be taking more time behind the scenes to craft your project.
And then, you're right. And I think that's an excuse that a lot of people make, like, oh, well, you want them to talk about the project and this. No. It's pretty clear that they're not really involved in music. Music is one of those things that they're like, shit, I got to do. Let me go run in here and do this.
Mike, Black Thought is still spitting next to guys like Benny the Butcher on Crowns for Kings like a couple years ago. But Thought's still in his craft. He's still crafting it.
Yeah.
And so you can hear that they really don't craft it the way that they used to. So that's really not about the producer, not about the blame the producer. As far as Jay with the misogyny, I mean, Jay is probably short of Too Short, or this side of Too Short, the most misogynistic rapper ever prior to him getting with Beyonce. Like all of his rhymes and his bars are littered with misogynistic verses. Like, he released whole singles about him being misogynistic. Mike, Hey Poppy is Big Pimpin'.
I was gonna say, I was thinking that too, because
Mike, he came in the game talking this way. Mike, cashmere thoughts. Life's short, so play hard and stick hard. And the only time you love them is when you dick hard.
Yeah, I mean,
He's been talking this way.
But you know what? Let's not just put it on him. It's been hip hop in general.
Let's not put it on Big Pimpin' either. Like,
no, I agree.
You spent about 8 years talking that way. Like, own it. Own it as a grown man. Like, we have to own it as grown men when we get older. Be like, you want to know what? Like, don't make it seem like, oh, I'm so ashamed I make that record. Be like, oh, own it all the way. It's like, no, I was misogynistic in my rhymes and in my lyrics.
What I don't like, though, is the fact that... Go ahead.
His misogyny was so bad that it affected his rating in the source. They bought it up in the rating of Reasonable Doubt.
Wow.
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 Right.
Yeah, I don't even remember
Right.
that. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember because I was like, how the fuck they give this 4 months? I'm like, here they go with this bullshit again.
They just wanted to have a reason, and that was the reason. But it's like, I mean, the other part of it is the fact that Jay was older. I mean, he was kind of speaking to this like he was just, just young and dumb. He was very cognizant of what he was saying and what he was doing and his
He
approach.
was like 30 when Big Pimpin' came out. He
Right.
wasn't
He was
20. He was
30 when Big
30.
Pimpin' came out. Yes.
Hey.
Yeah. This wasn't a record he made when he was like 19, 20, like on some
Right.
hootie hoo shit.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
own it. No, own
all
it.
right. Well, this Friday we're probably going to be talking about, because we haven't gotten the rollout for what is actually coming out this Friday, but I think that we can further this Cole and Kendrick conversation a little bit more and probably get a little bit more details about what's coming out this week. And we can kind of expand on that. So, this was a short. We're 20 minutes in, so we will holler at y'all on Friday. Gotta go.